Yeah, la 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 la. Yeah, la 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 la. Yeah, la 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 la. Yeah, la 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 la.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So nice to see you. We'll continue. It's just about 6 o'clock right now. We'll continue to sing for a little while, see if a few others join us. But I am expecting it to be a relatively small crowd right now for this Thanksgiving weekend Shabbat. So we'll continue, Betty, if you want to sing maybe one more round of Dina Niyun. I invite you to all join in from home.
Sing along with me, folks, even though you're home. More, sure.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I am Rabbi Talia Stein, and as you can tell, I'm being accompanied this evening by Temple member Betty Kanik. We're both so happy to be here. It's really nice to see so many faces. I hope you all had a meaningful and nice Thanksgiving. I know it was sadder this year for many of us who were not able to be with our loved ones as we might traditionally be with. But I hope you were able to have a somewhat meaningful and purpose-filled day, and that you're entering Shabbat with some peace and calm this week. I know, even though sometimes it feels like Wednesday night is getting ready for Shabbat of Thanksgiving week, and Thanksgiving feels like Shabbat, I often don't have as big dinners as I do on Thanksgiving or Shabbat during the week. So it almost feels like this is my second Shabbat, but really it feels just really wonderful to be, again, going into Shabbat, able to pause for a little while from sort of the busy outside world. And again, just being able to rest and recharge and see all your faces. Again, it feels really wonderful and special to be here. This week, our Torah portion is Vayetze. We continue with the story of Jacob. Last week, we saw a little bit of Jacob. We really saw Jacob in his most deceptive form, where he's tricking his brother, tricking his father, who then become angry with him, and he runs away. So our parsha this week opens with him leaving his home, leaving Vayetze Yaakov, leaving, and Jacob goes, leaving home, and encountering God on his journey and going to the house of his uncle and finding his wives. So he works for 14 years, 7 years for one of Lavan's daughters, and 7 years Leah, and 7 years for the other one, and finding his wives. So we really are seeing this week, interestingly, really Jacob's development as a person, and we'll talk a little bit more about the beginning of that journey later. But first I wanna we're gonna begin by lighting candles, and Betty's gonna lead us in lighting candles. So I invite you, if you have candles at home, to grab your candles, to light them, and to say the blessing along with us, and we'll put it on the screen.
asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. It's so wonderful. The first thing we see when we open our eyes from lighting candles is the light of the Shabbat candles. And then we'll go into singing Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the angels of Shabbat, welcoming the guests of Shabbat into our home and the presence, the holy presence that they bring with them.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzechem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Adonai oz li'amo yiten, Adonai varech atamo v'shalom. May Adonai, may God bless us with strength. Strength, may God bless us all with shalom, peace. It's so important to achieve this wholeness, this peace. We need strength to get there. I love this verse. It feels like a mantra, especially during these times, to say, to achieve this inner peace, this wholeness, both internally as a person, but also as a community, as a country, as a society. We need that strength. We need to bring that strength and be blessed with strength.
Adonai oz li'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz li'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo. Shalom. Shalom. Adonai oz li'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz li'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo. Shalom. Shalom.
I am muted. We'll turn now to one of my favorite psalms, a psalm traditionally said at the end of Kabbalat Shabbat, Tov lehodot ladonai. It's good to give thanks, to praise God. And on this Thanksgiving week, I thought it would be particularly thematic to sing about praising God, to sing about thanking God. It's good to give thanks, to cultivate gratitude. I just want to share a story. One of my most powerful experiences, actually, as a high schooler, was when I was a junior in high school. My class went to Prague and Poland to learn about the Holocaust and then visit the concentration camps in the area. And we spent we first went to Prague before going to Poland to learn about the Jewish community there, both what it historically was and what had been before the Nazis came to power, and before the Holocaust, and also to see what the Jewish community looked like now. And then we went to Poland as well. And I remember that Shabbat we were a group of probably 50 or so, probably obnoxious 11th graders, let's be honest. And we had learned several psalms like this. And we had Shabbat dinner actually at an old age home in Prague. And I remember this really well. And we could barely communicate with the people there. None of us spoke Czech. It was Czechoslovakia back then. So I'm not actually sure the language, honestly, embarrassingly. And they didn't speak English. And so there was it was very, very hard to communicate during dinner. I remember it was sweet, but hard to communicate. And after dinner, we started singing a little bit, and the singing started off very slowly. And most people didn't several of us were trying to sing to get, sing these Jewish songs, these psalms, maybe tunes that like Shalom Aleichem that Betty just sang a few moments ago that might be familiar to some people. And a few people joined. And all of a sudden, this Tov Lehodot Ladonai was a psalm that we had recently just learned, and a song that was meaningful to us starting on this trip and became increasingly meaningful over the trip. And we started singing it. It's a song, and you'll see it starts off very slowly and it picks up a little bit. And all of a sudden we started standing and dancing around the room holding hands. And sure enough, everyone who could stand started joining us in this circle, singing Nine Lila lying to this psalm. And for those who weren't able to join us in the dancing, we joined them in the dancing. A few of us would break off. And I just remember the room sort of erupting in song and in spirit, and that really transforming the night that evening and that experience. Again, little communication through conversation, but such deep communication through singing and song. And I remember that well. And I think that, this is one of those moments for me, Tov Lehodot Ladonai. It's good to give thanks, to cultivate gratitude, especially for when thinking about moments like that, the ability to communicate with people through many different avenues, including song. So I invite you to sing along.
So before we start, this is a new one for me, and now I can't remember it. So just give me a line or two.
I got you, Betty.
Just give me a line, and once I get started, I'll be okay.
Tov lehodot ladonai.
Tov lehodot da-da-da-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da-dum, bum. Tov lehodot. No, this isn't.
I got it. Tov lehodot ladonai. Tov lehodot ladonai. L'shimcha elyon. Tov lehodot ladonai. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Lehagid baboker chastecha. Yemunatcha ba'elot.
Tov tov lehodot
Ladonai.
ulesamer
Tov lehodot Ladonai. Tov join from home if you know it. Tov lehodot Ladonai. Ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Tov tov lehodot Ladonai. Ulahagid baboker chastecha. Ulahagid baboker chastecha. V'emunatcha balelot. V'emunatcha balelot. Tov tov lehodot Ladonai.
Did I not, was I muted the whole time?
No.
Oh.
So
I
that's
apologize
one
for
of my favorite psalms, one of my favorite
Thank
songs.
you so much.
Um,
I only sang it about 500 times this afternoon, but you know, I can't do it now, so.
It's true. We'll move into Lechado D.
I'll call anyone who wants, I'll call you up and sing it on the telephone.
Wonderful,
I can't
Betty.
do it now, but
Marsha wants it.
Marsha, I'll call Marsha.
We'll all do it for you.
Don't quit your day job, Betty. Okay.
So we'll move into the Lechado D, the Psalm welcoming Shabbat. Again, really preparing us. And again, similar to Shalom Aleichem, it's a song welcoming the Shabbat bride, the Shabbat queen in. And it's a song, again, expressing blessing, Kihi Makor, recognizing that Shabbat is the source of blessing. Shabbat is really this opportunity for possibility for us to take a moment to ourselves, really think about who we are, what we ourselves need, and how we can bring that blessing into our lives.
Lechado di lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechado di lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, ishmianu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'letila. Lechado di lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechado di lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lekrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, merosh mikedem nisucha, sof maseh b'machshava techila. Lechado di lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechado di lekrat, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Toreri, ki va'orech, kumi uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai, alayich nikla. Lechado di lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lechado di lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Bo Emune am segula, boi hala, likado di likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela, likado di likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
I invite you to take a moment to breathe in the air of Shabbat, the spirit of Shabbat in your homes. And again, ground your feet on the floor. Feel the support of your chair as you enter into Shabbat. And we'll turn now to breakout rooms, give you just a brief minute or two to introduce yourselves to the folks in the room. I invite you to turn on your camera so you can say hi. Again, say hello, wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, and introduce yourself if you don't know one another.
Am I in a room?
It does not look like it. Do you want me to put you? I'll put you in a room.
That's fine.
I don't know why you're not in a room. Let's see. Let's see if I can assign you to a room.
Yeah, it's okay.
It appears that I cannot, because I guess because you're a co-host, I probably can't.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Here, move to. Betty, if you click on join breakout room, I think you can.
Where's it doesn't say that?
Here, let me see if I can get you to breakout room 3. Does it say join breakout room?
No. It actually, the screen split. So I now am looking at two things. One is the two of us, and one is a bigger thing saying something about scheduling made easy.
Oh.
I don't know what that is about. And I'm worried if I exit that actually, yeah, here we are.
Shabbat Shalom to Janet and Arthur. And I don't know who Tech 2 is, but Tech 2. We'll come back from breakout rooms in just a minute. We're coming back from breakout rooms. So people should be joining back very shortly.
So I just got the invite to join, so I won't join. I don't know who Tech 2 is either.
That's okay. There we go. Welcome back. Welcome back from your breakout rooms. We'll continue the service with the call to prayer with the Baruch Hu. I invite you to rise if you like. I know on Zoom it's a little funny. So again, feel free to rise or remain seated, whichever you prefer. We'll turn now to the Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMivorach Baruch Adonai HaMivorach Leolam Vaed Lai 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 lai.
We'll turn to Ahavat Olam, one of my favorite prayers, and I've said this before, but the Shema, our most fundamental mental prayer, the prayer talking about the oneness, the unity, the oneness of God, the oneness of all that exists, and the interconnectedness of all that exists, is surrounded by two prayers talking about love, Ahavat Olam and the Ve'ahavta. It's that interconnectedness, that sense of oneness and unity with one another, with all that it exists, comes firmly from a place of loving ourselves, loving one another, loving the world. And I love that the prayers, both in the morning, there's a different prayer called Ahava Rabbah in the morning prayer, and in the evening prayer, there's Ahavat Olam prayer, and the Ve'ahavta always surround the Shema during our services. So we'll sing that together.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Hitkim u'mishpatim Otanu limandita Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shomenu uvkumenu nasya b'chutkecha v'nisma b'rizvei toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed kitem hayenu V'yorech ramenu uvachem negei yomam v'layla negei yomam v'layla Yahavcha al tasir Mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shochbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We turn to the Hashkivenu, the prayer, praying for protection, praying for safety at night, which has historically been a time known for danger, and it fits in so nicely with this week's Torah portion, with this week's Parsha, as Jacob's dream. Jacob comes when he is alone at night, and some say very fearful, and the idea of God, the dream, and God sharing that God is with Jacob is one form of this protection that we sing about during Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shamreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shamreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros this tune I don't remember. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
We turn to the Vishamru, the prayer sanctifying Shabbat, a time for presence, a time for all of us to be present, for renewal, for recharging.
Vishamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam. Beni uven b'nei Yisrael odi olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat l'doratam berit olam.
We turn to the Amidah prayer, our standing prayer. And again, here's another opportunity where I invite you to sit or stand, whatever it feels more comfortable for you on the screen. And I just want to point out the Amidah. In our first paragraph of the Amidah, we highlight the acts of loving kindness. It says, God of Sarah, God of Rebecca, God of Rachel, God of Leah, You remember their acts of loving kindness. Be our help and our shield too. The chastei avot ve'imaot, the acts of loving kindness that our ancestors did. And I spoke earlier about this idea of cultivating gratitude. And I think that that goes right into this theme of chesed, this idea that God, that others remember the acts of chesed that both we do and that are done towards us. I think about how often when someone does an act of chesed, an act of loving kindness towards you, how that brings a smile to your face, or that sticks with you for a long time. So I invite you as we enter this prayer to really try to think about what it means to remember all the acts of kindness, the acts of chesed that are in your life, both that you put out into the world and that you are able to receive as well. And again, I invite you to join me in singing. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imaot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, V'Ezrat Sarah. We'll now take a moment for our own personal prayer or reflection. Let's join together in Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom b'mramot, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael.
Time in our service for the Misha Berach prayer, the prayer where we ask God's blessing for healing of the body, healing of the spirit, healing of the mind. And we're in a time in our lives where we need a lot of healing. Our COVID-19 pandemic is surging. And we're especially thinking of those in our lives, in the world right now, who are suffering from COVID-19, who are in hospitals, who have symptoms, whose communities are really just suffering through this pandemic and continue to as it's gone on. Often these communities are communities of color and poor communities. So we're keeping in mind that we're in need of healing of violence in this world and healing of you know, our souls, really, our souls and our minds. And I want to take a moment to really think about that, the fact that it's been a challenging year for many of us, both as individuals and really as a broader community, and how healing is the way to move forward. And really, we ask God's blessing for healing. And this evening in our own community, we ask for healing for these individuals: Ann Fenton, Elaine Ober, Karen Matheny, Robin Barinholtz, Amy Perlman, A.B. Haupt, June Zeiner, Jim Zeiner, Jody Kleiman, Gilbert Kleiman, Ronnie Meckler, Allison Santucci, Meredith Fine, Nicole Morris, Selma Grubert, Luann Luce, Ben Slavitt, Alan Brackup, Evelyn Opat, Samantha Kramer, Hanan Ashre ben Moshe Umiriam, Shoshana bat Chana Umeir, Pinchas ben Miriam, Michael ben Bluma v'Shmuel, Don David ben Ezer v'Chaya, Davida Emanuela bat Yechezkel Ephraim, Shoshana bat Moshe Ubela, Ephraim ben Malka Rachel, Chaya Sheva bat Bela, Reuven ben Baruch. And I invite you to add the names of others you're thinking of this evening, and you're praying for their healing. We wish them all a refuah shlema, a speedy and complete healing. And we'll turn now to the words of Debbie Friedman and sing together the Misha Berach prayer.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Again, we wish a refuah shlema for all those said, their names said aloud, said in the chat, or said in our hearts. As I mentioned, this week was Parshat Vayetze. So our Torah portion begins with Vayetze Yaakov, and Jacob left Beersheba, his home, the house of his parents, his angry brother, for Haran, where his uncle Lavan lived, an unfamiliar land. And immediately he stopped. Vayifga b'makom, vayalan sham. He encountered a place and stayed there for the night. According to a midrash, God actually makes sunset earlier, so Jacob must stop. And now Jacob, isolated at night, has a transformative experience where he encounters the divine. Upon waking, Jacob gets up and exclaims, "God was in this place, and I did not know it. How awesome is this place?" This encounter with God was completely unexpected and surprising for Jacob. Contemporary Torah scholar Aviva Gottlieb Zorenberg suggests that this moment right here is the darkest moment of Jacob's 20-year excursion away from home. not needing to run away from his brother or being tricked into marrying Leah instead of Rachel by his own uncle. Rather, right here, with Jacob experiencing the darkness of night and aloneness in this mysterious makom. There's terror, a blocking quality to the night, Zornberg writes. Darkness looms suddenly, unexpectedly, barring Jacob's passage. But this darkness is deliberately precipitated by God, so as to speak to Jacob in private. Having left all of his support systems behind, Jacob moves into the world of the night. Here, nothing is clear, all is shifting. And here, paradoxically, Jacob finds his ground of truth. The darkness of the night opens Jacob's, perhaps maybe opens ourselves up to being vulnerable. This openness allows us to have the transformative experience like the one that Jacob encounters that may not be possible during the daytime. Often we see darkness as debilitating and isolating, a space where we might be paralyzed by fear. But here, Zornberg points out, in this very darkness, that we actually become open enough to go deep inside ourselves, to explore our core values, and to encounter who we are and what we stand for. For Zornberg, the sacredness of this place, Hamakon, of an encounter with God, is based on a person's ability to stand in the fullness of selfhood, of being vulnerable and recognizing what kind of support we need to bring light into our darkness. Where are the places we can ask for help? Who do we seek out in our times of need? And who are we called upon to support? How can we support others? What do we need to turn our darkness into light? To remember that the sun will rise again in the morning. This makom is not necessarily a physical place. In fact, it is always referred to as the place, hamakom, in the text, until Jacob names it Bethel. But as Zornberg implies, it's a spiritual and emotional place, a place deep inside of us that we all have the ability to access. We want to be open to encountering it at unexpected times, perhaps in our own darkness. Or maybe we need others to encourage us, to push us there. But just like Jacob, we too can bayifka b'makom, encounter the place. Interestingly, our sages say that our patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are used as one of the paradigms for having prayer at fixed times during the day, 3 times in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. It is on the basis of this very passage, the sages said, that Jacob instituted the evening prayer. The inference is based on the word vayikga, which can mean not only he came to or encountered or happened upon, but also he prayed or he pleaded, as in the book of Jeremiah. Prayer in any form, whether it's in the synagogue with community or deep in our own hearts when we are alone in nature or at our homes, can perhaps open the doors for these types of meaningful, truth-telling, and self-actualizing encounters. For some of us, prayer can be incredibly challenging, hard to connect to. But what this story in Genesis shows us is that prayer, our own encounter or experience or conversation with the divine, can happen in many different ways, through dreams, alone, or perhaps through singing with community, or maybe through journaling or writing poetry. Each of us has a different way that works for us, but I invite you this Shabbat to attempt in whatever way suits you to encounter the sacred presence, vayifga b'makom, and maybe, just maybe, we might be surprised. Shabbat Shalom. So we'll continue in the service with the Aleinu prayer, concluding prayers. Again, the Aleinu prayer is one that talks about the world as we would like to see it, the world as we would like to imagine it. So again, I invite you to rise if you like or remain seated. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekiru l'yotzer breshit, shehunot hashamayim v'yoser aretz, umoshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo b'govei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, al ken nekavelech Adonai Eloheinu, liro mehera betiferet uzecha, letaken olam b'malchut Shaddai, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. We'll turn to the mourner's Kaddish, remembering those in our community who have passed away recently or whose yortzites we're observing this week. And in the Temple Sinai community this week, we remember John Anders, Mel Cherry, Ruth Cohen, Leonid Dorman, Eva Lofchi, Martin Match, Olga Miller, Harriet Mogul, Benjamin Myers, Harold Reisman, Ghazaleh Rokni, Sylvia Hillman Schwartz, Abram Siegel, Shirley Martz Seltzer, Joseph Shafter, Linnea Sommerfeld, Herbert Allen White, Morris Zonderman. And in the past 30 days, we remember the deaths of those in our congregation or family members of our members. Yitzchak Alkali, father of Tammy Petler, who died just this past week in Israel. Henry Fisher, father of our member Deborah Fisher. Cantor Sheila Klein, and Herbert Rice, uncle of Martha Hausman and Rabbi Vogel, brother-in-law of Carol and Bob Hausman. And we offer all of them our condolences on the losses of their loved ones. I invite you to add the names of others who you're remembering this evening. And we say Zichronam Livracha, may all of their memories be a blessing. We'll turn now to the mourner's Kaddish. And again, please join me in reciting. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shmei Dekudasha, Brichu, Le'elam Minkol Birchata, Vishirata, Tush Bechata, Venechamata, Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru, Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shamaya, V'chayim Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru, Amen. We have a few announcements for you this week. So I'll remind you, I see Jeremy Wolf, there's an Oneg following services. Jeremy, if you want to put the link in the chat, I invite you to join the Oneg right after services. And tomorrow morning, there is Shabbat morning Torah study beginning at 9 a.m. with Rabbi Vogel. We'll do a deeper dive into this week's Torah portion, really, really interesting. Just a reminder that there is no religious school this Sunday for Thanksgiving weekend. Starting this week, we're really excited to have a weekly drop-in conversation opportunity called Friendly Faces. This will be every Tuesday at 10:15 on Zoom, starting this Tuesday. And we're really excited so join that if you'd like, join just once, join every week. Starting not this weekend, but next weekend, Rabbi Waldorf starts his, I believe, 3-week-long class called Lessons for Living, Readings from the Agadah, and that's going to be 9:30 on Sunday mornings, beginning Sunday, December 6th. We also have our mindfulness and meditation series at 11:10 a.m. on December 6th. And then we have a full day of learning on Sunday, December 6th. So there's not much happening this weekend over Thanksgiving weekend, but next Sunday, stay tuned. So we have Rabbi Waldorf in the morning, then our mindfulness and meditation series, and then later in the evening, we have Hadassah Margolis, who spoke, I believe, earlier in October, is coming back to talk about loneliness Sunday at December 6th at 3 p.m. And that's sponsored by Temple Sinai's mental health initiative. We also have our Building Bridges program with the Israel Committee that Amos Lassen has been really involved in, continuing on Sunday, December 13th. And we look forward to seeing you either at these classes or for Torah study tomorrow morning or Shabbat services next week. And we'll conclude with Kiddush and the Motzi. Oh, and stay tuned. Hanukkah is not yet. We just finished Thanksgiving, but Hanukkah is not too far away. It begins Thursday, December 10th, and Temple Sinai has an amazing, amazing lineup of Hanukkah opportunities, including nightly candle lighting at 7 p.m. each night of Hanukkah. Oh, great. Rose Mandelbaum just corrected me. I appreciate that. So this is a reschedule. So Sunday, December 6th is actually the first of Hadassah Margolis' sessions. I've heard great things about her. So we, again, have 9:30 class, 11:10 class, and a 3 p.m. class that day, if you can handle it all or just come to one. So we'll continue with the Kiddush and the Motzi. I invite you to grab your grape juice or wine if you have it, and join me in the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. We'll continue with Hamotzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And my announcements, I did not thank Betty Kanek for joining me this evening. Thank you so much, Betty, for joining me this evening and leading services. And we're wishing you a Shabbat Shalom. And Betty, take us home in song.
Oh, thank you. This was fun. Yeah, so nice to see everybody. So this is my sort of Thanksgiving song. The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years. The hills fill my heart with the sound of music. My heart wants to sing every song it hears. My heart wants to beat like the wings of the birds that rise from the lakes to the trees. My heart wants to sigh like the chime that flies from a church on a breeze. to laugh like a brook when it trips and falls over stones on its way, to sing through the night like a lark who is learning to pray. I go to the hills when my heart is lonely. I know I will hear what I've heard before. My heart will be blessed with the sound of music, and I'll sing once more.
Thank you, Betty. Shabbat Shalom. So nice to see all of you. Join the Oneg, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.